I stood frozen on my front lawn, my jaw practically hitting the ground as bleach dripped down my pristine charcoal suit. The sharp, chemical stench burned my nose, and white splotches bloomed across the fabric I'd scrimped and saved for months to buy. My heart sank as the soot-me pride, my badge of hard-won success, disintegrated before my eyes. Across the yard, Linda Harper, the iron-fisted president of our neighborhood's HOA, stormed off, clutching an empty bleach bottle like it was a VY Tory trophy. Her face was twisted with a rage I couldn't wrap my head around. "This isn't some corporate penthouse," she shrieked, her voice bouncing off the quiet suburban street. "You're not better than us." Neighbors peeked through their blinds, too scared to step outside, but clearly glued to the drama. My mind raced, struggling to process the insanity of it all. I'd built my business from nothing, and now I was being attacked on my own property just for dressing like I had a job to do. 3 months ago, I'd moved into Willow Creek, a picture-perfect neighborhood with tidy lawns and friendly waves. After years of 80-hour weeks, my tech consulting business had finally taken off, and this house was my rewarded symbol of every late night and sacrifice. At first, everything seemed ideal. Charming homes, a great location for my downtown client meetings, and a community that felt like a fresh start. But I hadn't counted on Linda Harper. From the moment I pulled into my driveway, she had her eyes on me, watching from her porch across the street like a hawk. I'm no stranger to dressing sharp-tailored suits, polished shoes, the whole 9 yards. It's what my clients, CEOs, and investors expect. But Linda? She took it personally. It started with a comment. 2 weeks in, I was grabbing my mail when she sauntered over, her smile tight as a drum. "You know, most folks around here keep it casual," she said, eyeing my suit like it was a personal insult. "All those fancy outfits make it seem like you think you're above us." I chuckled, keeping it light, and explained that my job demanded a professional look. "I'm meeting with executives all day," I told her. "It's just business." But her expression hardened, like I just confirmed some deep-seated suspicion. From there, things spiraled. First came a dress code violation notice stuffed in my mailbox, claiming my suits were disrupting the neighborhood's VYB. I checked the HOA bylaws. No such rule existed. Then anonymous letters started REVYing, whining about my elitist presence and how I was ruining the community's character. I knew exactly who was behind them. Linda's tactics got weirder. She'd schedule surprise property inspections right as I left for work, nitpicking absurd violations. My grass was a half-inch too tall, my mailbox was non-standard, it wasn't, or my trash bins lingered curbside for 15 minutes too long. Each came with a fine. I had a fight at HOA meetings, which only seemed to fuel her fury. I stayed calm, taking the high road like my parents taught me. Some neighbors whispered that Linda had been on a power trip since becoming HOA president, but most were too intimidated to challenge her. Her husband was a big-shot local businessman, and she loved flexing the threat of lawsuits to keep people in line. I got why folks kept their heads down, but I wasn't about to let her pettiness derail me. Then came last Tuesday. Linda cornered me in my driveway, her face red with anger. "I'm sick of you strutting around like you own this place," she hissed, stepping so close I could smell her perfume. "Nobody needs to wear 3-piece suits in a neighborhood like this. Stop showing off." I kept my cool. "Linda, how I dress for work isn't your business. The HOA rules cover property, not clothing." She stormed off without a word, but the venom in her eyes should have tipped me off that she was planning something worse. Today was a big day. I had a meeting with investors who could take my business nationala make-or-break moment I'd prepped for weeks. I'd splurged on a new navy blue suit, Dula 1000 of crisp, tailored perfection that made me feel unstoppable. Briefcase in hand, I stepped outside, confidence pumping through me. I didn't notice Linda lurking by my car until her voice cut through the morning air. "You just don't listen, do you?" I turned, and there she was, trembling with rage, a plastic bottle in her grip. Before I could react, she lunged forward and sprayed bleach across my chest and arms. "What the hell are you doing?" I yelled, stumbling back as the chemical stench hit me. "Stop dressing like a CEO," she screamed, dousing me until the bottle ran dry. "This is a middle-class neighborhood. not your personal runway. I stared in horror as my soot-me investment, my armor turned splotchy and white. She stormed off, Leah VYing me, standing there, drenched and humiliated. Years of work, a crucial meeting, all jeopardized in seconds because of one woman's unhinged hatred of my wardrobe. I was shaking, not just from anger, but from the sheer absurdity of it. Then I noticed Mr. Lee, my neighbor 2 doors down, standing in his driveway, wide-eyed. "I got that whole thing on my security camera," he said, pointing to his doorbell cam with a clear VYEW of the chaos. "She's gone too far." Something in me snapped. I'd been patient, professional, even polite through Linda's relentless harassment. But this was war. I snapped photos of my ruined suit and called the police. While waiting, 3 neighbors approached, offering to back me up with stories of Linda's bullying. Turns out, I wasn't her only target. Anyone who didn't fit her cookie-cutter VY shown of Willow Creek had felt her wrath, though never this extreme. Mr. Lee sent me the security footage, crystal clear and damning. I called my investors, explained the situation, and sent them a photo of my ruined suit. To my relief, they were sympathetic and rescheduled. The cops showed up in 20 minutes, re-VY-EU'd the VY Deo, and took my statement. When they knocked on Linda's door, I could see her through her window, flailing her arms and pointing at me like I was the VY lane. She tried to spin it as a misunderstanding, claiming she was helping me clean a stain. The footage told the truth. I pressed charges: assault, property damage, harassment. Minutes later, the officers led her out in handcuffs. The neighborhood went silent, like it was holding its breath. Linda's face was a mask of shock, as if she couldn't fathom consequences catching up to her. Neighbors gathered on their lawns, some stunned, others nodding like a weight had lifted. 3 weeks later, I sat in the courtroom for Linda's hearing. She faced charges of assault, malicious destruction of property, and harassment. The judge wasn't buying her excuses, especially not with the security footage playing on a loop. She got 6 months of probation, $1,500 in restitution for my suit, 100 hours of community SARE VYC, and a restraining order barring her from coming near me or my property. The HOA board didn't waste time. They voted unanimously to boot her as president. As the verdict came down, Linda's face crumpled. "I was protecting our neighborhood's values," she wailed as the bailiff led her away. For someone who'd spent years lording her petty power over everyone, the idea of accountability seemed like a foreign language. Willow Creek feels different now, lighter, like we can all breathe again. But I keep thinking about how far this went, how a suit, a symbol of my hustle, became a battleground for one woman's insecurities. It's wild to think someone could hate a piece of clothing enough to commit a crime over it. What do you think? Did Linda genuinely believe she was defending the neighborhood? Or was this just jealousy dressed up as principle? Should I have confronted her sooner? Maybe stop this before it escalated? And what about the neighbors who stayed quiet for so long? Were they complicit or just stuck under her thumb? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if this story got your blood pumping. And subscribe for more real-life drama. Let's get this conversation going.